Welcome to Dahl Funeral Chapel's Advanced Planning webinar. This is something that's relatively new to all of us, but thanks to Anne and Richard, we're very happy to put this program together for you and answer some important questions. So to start with, I just want to welcome you to the program, give you a little bit of a brief history of my family. My grandfather, Emil Hansen Dahl, brought the business from North Dakota over to Montana in 1939 and bought the funeral home there. And shortly thereafter, my dad, his two brothers, and his two sisters went right into World War II. So it was pretty short. My dad was he was only 12 years old when they got to Bozeman, and then the war broke out a few years later, and his brothers and sisters, he was the youngest, and so they all went off to war, and my dad followed them into the war in the Navy, and very proud of the fact that they served our country. My dad lost his brother, Raymond Dahl, in that conflict. But I'm very, very proud of their sacrifices, as all of us are. And so we started the family business 80 years ago. A lot of things have changed over time, people's choices, different types of service, different options. But what hasn't changed for us is our commitment to the family and the families we serve. It really started with my dad, my grandfather, my uncle. They're very compassionate people. They're very kind and really dedicated to being good funeral directors. And my sister and I followed the family footsteps. I've been on board a little over 30 years now. And Ann Salisbury is our lead person in our pre-need program. Ann's been a funeral director for 24 years. She recently went through the National Funeral Directors Association's pre-planning program, and she is certified as a pre-planning funeral consultant, as well as being a licensed funeral director. I went through the life producer insurance program myself a few years ago, and so I'm a licensed agent as well. So we just we're excited about having this opportunity to visit with folks. I'd like to go ahead and get right started with Ann put some good questions together for us. So the first question is, advanced planning is an unfamiliar term. Can you explain what that means?
Advanced planning has many names. It is also referred to as pre-planning, pre-arranging, planning ahead. The idea is the same. The consumer seeks out information and professional advice for an event, a death, guaranteed to happen at an unknown time in the future. This could be days, weeks, or even years away. As with all major decisions and purchases in life, it is beneficial to research and carefully consider the options. The process is the same with advanced planning.
Next, we ask the question, what are the advantages of advanced planning? And there's several advantages, and we'll try to go through these and touch on them. But I see the biggest advantage to families, doing this is that it takes away a lot of the stress of planning a funeral. It gives their family direction of what their choices are. It's incredibly helpful, and as a funeral director, I've sat across the table from families that have everything planned out ahead of time to some families that just not even sure of, what type of disposition, either cremation or a traditional funeral service, and really struggle whether or not they're doing what their loved one would want them to do. And so that's one of the biggest advantages of the peace of mind for your family. And there's also financial benefits. It's done at a time where you don't have the emotional stress. You can make good choices based on the information. And so that's helpful. There's also Medicaid advantages by pre-planning and setting the funds aside. It's an asset that Medicaid can't touch. So there's a financial advantage. But I go back to, I think the greatest advantage is really peace of mind for your family, knowing that you've got everything taken care of. The next question we have is, can you briefly describe the process of advanced planning?
So the first step in the advanced planning process is to acknowledge that we don't know what we don't know. For many people, they have never been responsible for planning for a service for their loved one. And every situation is different with individual preferences, individual practical and personal matters that need to be addressed. Knowledgeable, licensed professionals with years of training, experience, and resources are best qualified to help you with this process. It is also important to choose someone you trust to accompany you in this process. Consent provides clarity and confirmation. I encourage you to be open to the information and recommendations you receive. Then take time to consider your options. Know why it is you are making the choices you do. Decide if you will record a plan in advance, fund a plan in advance, or do both. And most importantly is to follow through. Record your preferences at the funeral home of your choice. Then share that with those who need to know.
Okay. The next question we have is, how do I decide where to go for help with advanced planning? And I think it'd be really easy to just use an analogy. If you're building a home or doing a remodel and you need an electrician or a plumber, well, it's not the time to get cousin Bob that did an apprenticeship 10 years ago and he's going to wire your house for you. So it's really, when you break it down, in the funeral industry, and especially locally, you have great choices. If you have an established relationship with a funeral home, I can't say enough good things about the guys here in town. We actually go to breakfast once a month, and it's a good group of individuals. And for us at Dahl's, we've got Ann and I have got a lot of experience as funeral directors, and we were licensed as pre-planning consultants. And we really want you to be comfortable with your choices, and we'll work hard for you. So I think we could go on to the next question of what choices and decisions can be made with advanced planning.
So the short answer is as many choices and decisions as you want to make ahead of time. Again, every situation is different, but the most basic decisions include whether or not to have a visitation or a viewing. Here also, I recommend having a mind open to this opportunity for yourself or for the benefit of others. Will the final disposition be burial or cremation? Will there be a celebration of life or a gathering for the shared expression of love, sympathy, and support? These are just a few of the larger decisions, but there are many more details around that, and there are many factors that influence your choices. And that's where I'd recommend that it's good to visit with an experienced professional that can tell you the benefits of choosing to do these things or not.
Okay. The next question we have is, how much detail is necessary or recommended with advanced planning? I would say this is a personal choice, and this is an area where if you're a planner and you like, getting all the detail down, that's great. Take the time, pick out the music, pick out the programs, pick out the photographs. You can, there's no rule to how much detail that you want to put into this. And I think it's really based on the person's personality. If you're not really, you just want to get the essentials down, that's great. You're giving your family some direction. And it's also okay to have the family, take part and have them choose the folders and pick out and put together the picture tribute. So really, there's not a right way or a wrong way to do this. It's just whatever you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
The next question we have is, how much time does it take to plan services in advance?
So again, that goes back to detail. I find that often people may come in thinking it's going to take 15 or 20 minutes to do this process. I feel that to do it right, it really takes a little more time than that. So to inform you so that you can make informed decisions. But again, if you're just wanting to get things recorded, we'll be there to help you with that. But ideally, typically, an initial advanced planning appointment is about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Again, that includes a lot of getting to know you, what you want, and what you need, and how we can help you. So for that reason, it's always best to schedule an advanced planning appointment in advance, and then any additional appointments are scheduled as necessary to meet your objectives.
Okay. The next question is, paying in advance is also an option. What are the funding options and what are those advantages? We've come a long way in that area. It wasn't very long ago that we didn't have a lot of choices. The funeral homes participated in the Montana Funeral Directors Association's trust, and eventually that trust ended up in New York and was paying about 0.5%. In recent years, they changed the laws to where a funeral director could hold an insurance license as well as his funeral director's license. Ann and I have both gone and earned our life producer license so that we can give the family more options and more choices. And we've really found that the insurance products that they have they're solid. They pay, the interest is a little bit better, and in setting up a program that's dedicated just to take care of the funeral services, in that funeral trust, it's Medicaid wants to hear the magic word, irrevocable funeral trust. The insurance programs offer that to our clients. So we really want to take this kind of case by case, sit down with the family. If you already have an insurance policy that's in place and the funding's already taken care of, by all means, we can look at that. If it's a solid program, we'll recommend to stay with that. Or if you want the estate to take care of it at the end, you can go that way too. But it really, ultimately, we want to find out what's going to be the best plan for you. Okay? The next question is, what happens to my plan and my funding if my circumstances change?
And as we know, circumstances often change. Maybe you're living here and you've decided to move to Arizona to live with your daughter. Maybe you're out traveling and a death occurs not here in town where we are here to serve you, maybe you just decide that you would prefer someone else to provide services for you. So in all those situations, I think the easiest way to explain it is to say that the irrevocable plans that we set up at Dahl Funeral Chapel are transferable. And what that means is they go with you. So in all those circumstances, they're with you. And if you happen to be out of town or someone else ends up providing these services for you, the plan is transferred and paid out to whomever provides the services for you at the time of need. And of course, then the details, etc., they can work those out with you as well. So I think it's just important to rest assured and remember that your plan goes with you.
Okay. The next question is, what is unique about the advanced planning program at Dahl Funeral Chapel? Well, I obviously have a little bit of bias, but really I am sincere, and I'm very proud of my staff, and know that Anne and myself, we're going to sit down, we're going to listen to what's going to be important to you, and we've put together a dedicated program to serve families specifically in this area, and we've done the research, and we really want to sit down and just be good listeners, make good suggestions, and our staff is really very knowledgeable when it comes to putting together the services. We've got great people that work here. Linda and Sue and Richard and Shane. It's a great team, and I feel I'm very blessed to be a part of it. So next, we're going to go into just kind of our concluding statements, and I want to thank Ann and for putting this together and taking the lead. I really want people to feel comfortable. We've kind of started this dialogue and asking some of the questions that are typically asked, but we want you to feel comfortable. Call us. You can get our numbers on the website. We're both available to sit down with you one-on-one, answer your questions, either by just by phone, or we can set up the internet with you. Seems to be the popular thing to do. So, but really it's just, I don't know, it is an important decision. It's an important task, and bottom line is your family is going to be in a much better place when you take the time to plan things ahead. So thanks again, Ann. I appreciate everybody taking the time to visit with us.
So I just wanted to leave you in this time with a word of encouragement. Rabbi Earl Grolman said, "Joy shared is joy increased. Grief shared is grief diminished." On this National Healthcare Day, the world community is in an unprecedented time of global grief, complicated by the need for isolation, yet championed by the indomitable human spirit. As last responders, we at Dahl Funeral Chapel are committed to inform you, serve you, and walk with you today and every day.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.